Mutants and variants, X-Men and Avengers. You are now tuned into the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Jen Diz.
And that's Mike TV.
Today we're diving into the wild and crazy world of Deadpool and Wolverine with a spoiler-filled discussion and review. Plus, with just a few days to go, we're going to get hyped up for D23.
Hey, that was exactly how the Deadpool movie started. Do you remember when they were doing the Marvel? What's it called?
Oh
What's
yeah,
the thing
you're
called at the
right.
very beginning?
The
There's a word for it.
fanfare, the
The
Marvel
fanfare.
fanfare logo thing. You're right.
Yep. And then
You
you
had
had Deadpool humming along at the end there with the
that's so
song.
cute.
It's
Didn't even
very
do that on
cute.
purpose. That's perfect for this episode. Um, the whole intro for Deadpool and Wolverine was so good with the NSYNC song
So
playing.
good.
Bye bye bye. Gosh, so we gave our listeners right about a week and some change to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. So hopefully you all saw it already, or if you haven't, maybe you don't mind spoilers and this will get you to go watch it. But today we want to give our rating, we want to review it, and then talk about a bunch of the Easter eggs that we loved, like all the hidden references and surprise fan service in the best way possible that was part of Deadpool,
Deadpool.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
That would be a sheep version of Deadpool. Would be
Yes.
Deadpool.
Oh my God, I love the variants. The variants. So many. Did you see? I'm going to skip just way all the way to the variants for a second. At Comic-Con, there was a Bob Ross pool,
Oh my God.
and it was so
Hilarious.
good.
No.
It was so good. I couldn't believe
Was
it.
it just like Deadpool with like the painter's palette with like a afro on?
Yep. Yep. And you just immediately recognized it.
Pretty
It's
little
so funny.
trees. That's cute.
Yeah. So good. All right. So you watched it. I watched it. Let's start with something simple. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5 stars. What would you rate Deadpool and Wolverine?
5 big old stars. I went and saw it for the second time yesterday. I brought
Nice.
my brother and his girl, who I did not think were going to enjoy this type of movie, laughing the whole time. It's good.
I
5
love that.
stars.
I love
5
that.
stars.
5 out of 5. I'll also give it a 5 out of 5 bloody stars for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say, oh my God, is it adamantium? What is his? What are his
Uh-huh.
claws made out of? Adamantium?
Yeah.
I was gonna say 5 of those, but he only has 3 on each, so they're just like maybe I'll do 6 claws.
Yeah, it gets an
There
extra.
you go.
You get an extra.
It does. It really does. It was really fun. Um, Also, side note, I also went to McDonald's this morning specifically for a Happy Meal toy that is being advertised all over the internet. And it's Deadpool on a swing, and you get to hang it from your rear view mirror. And I thought it was very cute, and they do not have it.
What? Is it real? I didn't even know they were going.
Supposedly it's real, but
Wow. I am
it was not
surprised with
there
it
yet.
being rated R. But they've done all the other Disney Marvel things, so I hope they do. Now I got to check out my McDonald's. I went to McDonald's at the airport recently, but I did not get a Happy Meal, nor did I look at the toy.
I got to check again. Maybe it was fake news. So we just quickly looked it up on our way there because I had seen it pop up. So
Love it. Well, the
check first,
popcorn bucket
guys. Check first.
is was very popular. The Wolverine popcorn bucket at some of the movie theaters. Wide
Oh, I did
mouth.
not see it.
Oh, it's so funny. It's Wolverine. His mouth is wide, and you like have to fist his mouth to get the
Oh,
popcorn. It's like the sequel to the Dune popcorn bucket, but Deadpool Wolverine style.
oh my God,
Yeah.
that was a whole thing with that other popcorn bucket. Yeah, that's
Right? Yeah.
actually hilarious. I wonder if they came up with that because of the Dune popcorn bucket.
I think 99% somebody did because of that. Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen actually a
That's
lot of good
great.
tie-ins. Carl's Jr., at least down here in Mexico, they have the Wolverine Deadpool meal. So it's like the red one that has more ketchup, and the other one has like a bunch of mustard and cheese. And then they have
How
like specialty
funny.
cups that go with it. I love it. I love when things go
Jack in the
all
Box
out.
is in on it too.
Ooh, what
They
did they
have
do?
like, for some reason, I guess that Deadpool had a thing for chimichangas in the comics. So they have
Okay.
all these like chimichanga things and like these little special like meal, Deadpool and Wolverine meal things you can get. So
Oh, that's amazing.
if we're getting in the spirit, it's fun.
Yeah, especially when it's a good movie that everybody's loving at the same time. It's
Right.
like, all right. Um, Disneyland, Avengers Campus. I'm so jealous that I can't go. But yeah, Deadpool, Wolverine are there, not only just showing up, but they're like performing and reading stories and being silly, just like in the movies. And then I saw that chimichanga thing there too. And so they sell the deep fried chimichanga with three cuts down the middle with
Ah,
all
cute.
the sauce pouring out like blood. Genius.
Cute.
Genius.
Genius.
I love it. Avengers Campus,
That's great.
California. Check it out.
Yeah. And have you heard the jokes that Deadpool is saying?
No, what are some of
And
the
no,
jokes?
you haven't?
I don't think
Oh
so.
my
I've seen him
God.
like riding the unicorn and then other things.
Yeah, he's just being wild. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. But the jokes are actually very adult, but they're the kind of jokes that will fly right over the kids' heads, which I can really appreciate. Like that to me is like perfection at doing the Disney adult, right? Like that
Yeah.
is like it's not offending any of the families or children because they won't get it. And if they do, that's a whole other problem. So like it's a bigger problem, but they shouldn't get it. And then all of us adults can get the humor and laugh about it still. Oh my God, it's so funny. There's one where he's like making fun of Wolverine's profile on Grinder. He like literally throws out
Oh
Grinder.
wait, I think I saw something about that. What does he say?
He's like, he has this like iPad thing he's looking at. He's like, oh, there's a Disney Parks app, for, which is also cute that he's looking at the Disney Parks app. And he's like swiping through different apps and he goes, Grinder. He goes, Wolverine, your profile, your picture looks like it's 10 years old or whatever he says on it. He's like, he's making fun of his profile is not being updated on
So
Grinder.
good. Love it.
I loved it. I love it. So many funny ones. Also, something about someone being a bottom at some point. So there's like a
Wow.
lot of jokes.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's like,
And I loved the chemistry in the movie between not just Deadpool and Wolverine, but Ryan and Hugh. Like you
totally,
could
totally.
tell they're friends and this was like a passion project to do together. So funny.
Right. One of
How do
my,
you
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, how do you even review this? Like I don't know if I could even do like a 2 sentence review. On my Instagram, where I normally do like a 1 or 2 sentence review, all I said was 5 out of 5, and then the wet splash emoji, and I couldn't do anything else. But I also didn't want to give any spoilers away, so there's part of that. But
Right. Um, I don't know. I feel like kind of just going into the things that we like about it might just be
yeah,
the way to swing it. What do you think?
let's do it, and then maybe we could wrap up by trying to then put it into.
Right. Yeah, we need to
Yeah,
summarize our thoughts here. Okay, so one thing that Deadpool's always done, and I believe he did this in the comics as well, is break the fourth wall, right?
yeah.
It's like that's his jam, and he's also very, very funny in a very adult humorous way. So there
What
was
is the
so much
fourth
of that
wall?
again.
If we have people who are like, "What is that?"
Fourth wall, the way I would explain it if somebody asked me that I know does not know anything about it, I would just say breaking the fourth wall is taking it out of this fiction version of the story that we know and bringing it into our real life, like our world. So, like, for instance, Deadpool refers to Wolverine as Hugh at some point, which is his real life. Hugh Jackman is the actor's name, right? So
Yeah,
that's like breaking the fourth wall and taking it a step further into back into reality, I guess. How would you explain it?
back into reality. I usually like to think of it as when the character, like you said, the fictional character in the media that you're watching acknowledges the audience is present. Like I
Yes,
think this
yep,
went all the
yep.
way back to like plays and Broadway shows. There are certain ones where they would pause and acknowledge the audience. I would say my favorite notable fourth wall breaker in our generation is Zach from Saved by the Bell. He would pause
What would
and
he
turn to the
do?
camera and like tell us what's up. He'd be like,
Oh,
I don't know what Slater's trying to do here. And then he'll go back to normal and then
okay,
expect, yeah.
okay.
So there were some shows back in the 80s, 90s that did that. She-Hulk did it, more modern TV show, also Marvel. Something that I was reading about that I didn't think of was the fandom is now making up this new term called the fifth wall.
That's funny. We were joking
Right?
about that.
The fifth wall.
We
And
were
they
joking
said
about that.
Deadpool and Wolverine broke the fifth wall because it's so meta and iceberg. Like, not only does he acknowledge Hugh playing Wolverine, but he also acknowledges all the like fan commentary leading up to the movie about who is going to play who, and then the multiverse, and then the studio itself, like Walt Disney Studios, Kevin Feige. So he's like doing more than talking to the audience. He knows what we're thinking. It's
Right.
so weird. It's so weird, and I love it so much. I love it.
That's actually one of the very first lines of the entire film. He's already doing that, where he's talking about who would have thought a guy like me would get another movie, let alone a franchise? I don't deserve this. And then
Yep.
he's like, oh, Disney bought out Fox. There's some boring legal stuff, blah blah blah. Like he like literally says it just like that. I was like, we've
Squashed it
had an
all.
episode about this before,
He squashed it before we could even complain about it.
right?
Even
And
the thing about Logan, right?
yes, the
Yeah.
dishonorable. Yep, yep. How can we do this without dishonoring Logan? He's like, we won't. We are, or
Right.
whatever.
And that it just set the tone of the movie. I was like, okay, they're gonna go there with everything,
Yes,
and
yeah, totally.
nothing is off the table. Like everything is in play. Crazy.
Right. Oh my God. There was
Wow.
so many fun parts of this film that I think I got a little more excited about than most people in the audience because there was so much Disney stuff in there that I
Yes.
got.
Yes.
And like, you don't have to be, you can be a huge Disney fan and still not know the behind the scenes stuff with all of this Marvel stuff. Luckily, I have you, Mike, to have
Woo.
taught me over the years what's going on and keep me up to date on all of it. Otherwise, I would also be in the dark. But I was laughing so hard in that part where he yells, "Suck it, Fox! I'm going to Disneyland." I like screamed out loud. I was like I cheered, and
So
nobody else
good.
did, but I didn't care.
Oh,
I was like, "Yeah,
I love it. It rewards every type of fandom throughout any piece of the movie. Like there's something for everybody. Like if you're the comic book nerd, or if you're just
mm-hmm."
the MCU movie follower, if you're a Disney fan, or maybe you're just like you like behind the scenes of movies and you follow all the news. They're, oh God, they just acknowledged everything.
Oh, that was another great commentary for the fans, like the fan speculation stuff, where he's like, the multiverse is done. Like I'm over the
Yep.
like
I'm
he's
Marvel
like it's
Jesus.
dead.
I'm
Yeah,
Marvel Jesus.
Marvel Jesus. What do you call himself later? Marvel H Christ or something? It
Oh,
was
yeah.
hella funny.
So good. Can we just we'll just hop all over the place rather than trying to go in order, right? That's too hard. We'll hop all around just like Deadpool would do.
Right.
Um, one of the things that I that got me like shooketh, like jaw dropped, hands on my cheeks, like what is happening was, and it happened. It was a double orgasm. I'm just gonna say it. It was double big O. Was when Chris Evans stepped onto the freaking screen when they were in that desert limbo land. And I was like, no
Boy.
way is Captain America in this, because he was wearing like the red and the blue and it was dirty. And my brain was just racing like faster than the movie was going. My brain was trying to figure out, wait, but why would he be there? Did he get lost in the time travel? I thought he was stuck in the 1950s or whatever. And then the double whammy, right, was when Deadpool was like, oh my God, he's going to say it. And we all thought he was going to say Avengers Assemble, but nope. He said Flame On, because that was actually Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four, one of the, God, how many versions of Fantastic Four movies they've tried to do back at Fox. That was the one that had like Jessica Alba in it as Invisible Woman. It actually had a sequel too, but I did not see that coming, and I was just floored. It was just a genius move, and so well kept. Like there were so many secrets that did not leak that I'm very impressed by.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's always fun when you get to see a movie like that without knowing everything ahead of time, like the no spoilers thing, right?
No spoilers.
That is super cool. I like that part too because I can't remember. I don't want to like say all of it because the whole like that little bit of a storyline was like pretty fun, but Deadpool mentions he's like that wasn't my favorite Chris or something like that. And he's like again back into
Right.
our seats, right? Talking about Chris Evans as a actor instead of, you know,
So
Captain
funny.
America or Johnny Flame.
And then there was the one of the end credits teasers that kind of brought it back to um Human Torch. God, the guy has so many names. So the character is Human Torch. And they let Chris Evans just go on a cursing spree, which was
Yeah.
so opposite
Yeah.
of Captain America, right? It was so
Right.
good. You could tell he loved it. I was reading a behind the scenes. So apparently Ryan and Chris are friends, as you could imagine. And Ryan pitched it to Chris. He was like, I have an idea for you to come back as a previous character that's not Captain America. And he said, hear me out. And if you don't want to do it, it's totally fine. And then Chris was like, I 1000% want to do this. And then, with these cameos, they only usually have like one day to film it in the middle of a large production. They'll like fly the
Right.
person in and it's real quick. So Ryan Reynolds had cue cards ready for that end credit scene because it was a lot. He was basically saying all these horrible things about the villain. Um, and Ryan offered the cue cards, and Chris said, "I don't need cue cards. I was so excited for this. I have it all memorized. Let's go." I love that. Yeah.
Oh, stop.
So
That is hella
cool.
cute.
So cool.
That is super, super
What
cute.
what was one of your jaw-dropping moments?
I just was really liking the Disney digs. So I think
Yeah.
the first one where my jaw dropped was when the TVA showed up to Wade Wilson's apartment, aka Deadpool, and they knocked on the door and he was like laughing, thinking they're strippers, which already is like funny enough. But then they like take out those like zapping sticks. There's probably a name for them, but I'm going to call them zapping sticks that
Right.
throw you back into some other timeline or put you back where you're supposed to be, or the void. I guess it could go
The void,
however
that's
you're
what
going
it's
to do those
called. I kept
things.
calling it limbo. Yeah, the void. Yeah, what are the six? They prune you, pruning sticks or something.
Pruning
Yeah.
sticks. That's right. That's right. So they had their pruning sticks, and he's like, oh, and then he like, okay, this is like a double moment too, because he said, he's like, hey guys, I think he said friends, friendo or something like that, some like cool, cute like version of it that Deadpool would say. Hey friendo, pegging's not new to me, but it is to Disney, which already is like enough. And then he again breaks it. He looks directly in the camera. I think that might have been the only time. I don't remember if he looked in the camera a lot, but anyway, he looks dead in the camera and winks. Like it was just
So
so
good.
like at that point too, because that was also pretty early in the film. I was like, all right, like this is going to be again like balls out, right? Like
Yep.
be whatever this whole film. I also loved his digs at Hugh Jackman. Like
Yeah.
this was very early when he was still a corpse at the beginning. He like made his mouth talk. Like he like
Yeah.
reached over and made his jaw move and then he mimicked as if he's talking and in his best like Australian accent, or is he New Zealand? I don't know where he's from.
No,
Australia?
that's such a good point. He didn't even do Hugh Jackman's Wolverine accent, right? He
Right.
did
Yeah, he
Hugh
did like his real
Jackman's
life Hugh
real.
Jackman accent.
Yeah, I think it's
And he
Australia. Yeah.
I think Australia too. He said, good day, mate. There's nothing that'll bring me, I'm trying to remember. Nothing that'll bring me back faster. Because this is now Hugh Jackman talking. There's nothing that'll bring me back faster than a fat bag of Marvel cash or something like
Yep,
that. And
I
I was
love
like, this
it.
is so funny. And then a couple times throughout the film, he said, like, Fox canceled you and then Disney brought you back and is going to make you work until you're 90, which is also hilarious because this is all Disney taking stabs at themselves, right? Because
Yeah.
this is now a Disney film. So,
Yeah.
like, they're admitting, like, yeah, we run shit into the ground and everybody knows it and all the fans talk about it all the time. So,
Yep.
again, once again, they like really addressed what we're thinking and like admitting it to us, which I think is
Yeah.
great because we're like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Like,
And
and you
it's like
guys seem
a
to
fun
like it, and
way.
you're still showing up. So hey,
It's a fun way to answer that question too about like, wait, is Wolverine now in the MCU as Hugh Jackman? And they're like kind of basically saying, yeah, look, we're trying to get him on for till the rest of his
right.
life.
I think he even said that too. He says like, "Hey, welcome to the MCU."
Oh yeah, I think so. I love when
But
he
then he
referenced
goes,
it
"We're
as
at a
that.
low point right now," or something like that,
Oh
which is
yeah, you
also
joined at a low
another
point.
funny. Yeah, yeah, he joined at a low point.
So good. Oh my God. Um, okay, so when he went to go look for the perfect Wolverine to join him,
Oh yeah.
we were all treated to a bunch of Wolverine variants at different stages of the Wolverine storylines. Some were from the movies, some were from the comics, and I just couldn't believe all the things they did. So the one that made me gag in the best way possible was when they did the short version, because
Yeah.
we've even talked about this like on the podcast before, which is in the comics. If you want a comic accurate Wolverine, he's about 5 foot, 5'3",
He's
and
like
a lot
tiny,
of
right?
so tiny. All the fans are like, "Oh, Hugh Jackman's too tall. They need to recast so that it could be accurate." But then now they showed us, oh, this is what it would look like. You want a 5'3" Wolverine? So weird.
And
It
there
looks
he
so
is. He's
weird.
just in another universe. So,
Yeah, there he exists somewhere out there. I couldn't believe they went there. And then they did the one where he's like crucified on the X, which is like from one of the comic
oh, that was
books.
wild. Yeah,
Yep.
that was a wild scene.
Man. Oh, and then I saw somebody make a meme of that. Like talk about the fifth wall. Someone made a meme of that because Deadpool and Wolverine officially surpassed and made a bunch of records, right? Box office wide. But one of the box office records that they just beat was a rated R movie record, which was Passion of the Christ. Do you remember that movie when it came out?
Yes.
And so then they put those next to each other, and they're like, they said something funny about it. I was just like, oh my
Stop. That's
God,
crazy.
man, oh man. People are having fun with this one. Some of the other variants they showed that I was excited about was Patch. I like Patch because when I when I collected comic cards, that was one of them. And I just thought he looked really like
Okay, I
badass.
don't know what this is. What's Patch?
So Patch is basically a variant of Logan slash Wolverine, but he has an actual eye patch.
Oh, okay. Where
Yeah,
he
and
was like at a poker table or something, right?
yeah, in the movie he's like wearing a white suit at a poker table, and then they revealed that it's the patch version.
I got it. Got it.
They even did one that's called Old Man Logan, which is like a very
Oh,
old
yeah.
like in
He's
the
like all country too, like from
uh-huh.
Pirates of the Caribbean, sitting out on the porch.
Yep, totally, totally. They did, oh gosh, they did a quick teaser of Hulk, Incredible Hulk versus Wolverine. And this I did not know, so I'll share with everybody. Wolverine was introduced in the Marvel Comics first through the Incredible Hulk's one of his books, one of his
Oh, that's even
volumes.
cooler. That makes it even
Yeah.
cooler.
So that's how we first saw Wolverine. I think even before like the whole like X-Men type of thing.
In the brown and tan outfit or whatever
Right?
that he kept talking about. He's like, "Oh, you're
Old
brown and
school
tan.
one.
Is this where you fight the Hulk?"
It's so cool. So now of course the rumor mills are going crazy. Are they gonna do a team up movie or a versus movie?
Oh,
You got Mark Ruffalo and Hugh Jackman. Wow, so exciting. What else? They had Henry Cavill, aka Superman, as Wolverine, also
I was
known
gonna
as
ask what was with
Cavill
that guy because I don't know that
Cavalrine.
story.
So, okay, so this is another fifth wall.
Cavalrine.
Cavalrine. So Henry Cavill played Superman in the more recent DC universe. So with Wonder Woman and Justice League and all that.
Okay.
And then that franchise wasn't doing so well. And so they're trying to figure out how to fix it. So they hired James Gunn from the Marvel Disney Studio verse, who did Guardians of the Galaxy and all that. They hired him to be the Kevin Feige of DC. So James Gunn is now in charge of all DC, and he's going to make it real good. I actually am excited about it now. Like they're redoing Superman, they're rebooting everything, making it more colorful, like the comics, and not so like dark and sad. But anyways, part of that was Henry Cavill, who actually physically is the perfect Superman. Like he looks like Superman. And
Right.
so that meant he was getting recast. And so a lot of people were really sad about that, especially because he had announced on Instagram, Henry Cavill, that they're going to start a new Superman movie and he's going to be in it. Then the next day, the news dropped about James Gunn joining DC, and then James Gunn said, "No, we're rebooting and recasting."
Oh,
So
ouch.
embarrassing for everybody. It's just like awkward sauce. And then after that, so now Henry Cavill lost Superman, and he also lost The Witcher. So he played The Witcher on Netflix, and he turned down the next season because of Superman. And so he's like in limbo, and he's a fan favorite despite the movies not being great. And then over time, when we started finding out that X-Men is joining the MCU officially, Henry Cavill has been fan cast several times to be the new Wolverine instead of Hugh
Ah,
Jackman,
that's what I was
right?
hoping. I was hoping there was a big tie in there. That's
Right.
cool.
So then to him to show up and there's fan speculation and fan desire for him to be, it was like a little bit like the way we saw Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange, played by Jim from The Office, who is also fan cast. So that means we don't know if it's just like a one-time fun cameo fan service or if we'll see him again as Wolverine. But
Uh-oh.
he looked pretty good in the character. He
Yeah.
is a tall version, which is fine, as we all know. We don't need the short one anymore. And then somebody, I'm pretty sure it was Deadpool, called him Cavalrine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So,
was like, wait, I don't know this
right?
one. What is this? Yep.
Even more fifth wall, sixth wall, seventh wall, all the walls, because there's just so much packed into that one shot.
Wait, there's also, okay, I have two questions around this
Yeah.
scene still. So first of all, when he just got like balloons coming up or something on our our YouTube. Anyways, um distractions. Okay, when Deadpool first sees Cavalrine in this situation, he said, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we want," or something like that. And
Yes.
I was like, so now that I know that, that puts it together that he's like speaking for the fans again.
Yes. And
That's so cool. I did not know that. Okay, I love that.
he even disses the DC studio verse or whatever you call it. Like the whole Marvel versus DC rivalry. He goes, "We'll treat you so much better than those assholes down the street."
Oh my God, I love
Right?
it.
Because
Stop.
they just left poor Henry Cavill out. And he was
And they are
really
like
good.
down the street,
They
right? In
are,
Burbank
yeah.
Studios, like
They're like,
area.
there
Oh
we
my God,
go.
that's freaking
The
hilarious.
other
And then
comic
what else did he
studio.
say? Oh, I just wanted to ask as a general question about it.
Yeah.
Were the fans like fan casting him after Hugh Jackman said he was done with Wolverine?
Yes. It was
Okay,
like,
so
all right,
like we needed somebody, so they were out
exactly.
looking, and
Yeah.
then okay, oh my God, I love it so much. Okay,
So much. And
carry
yeah,
on.
it was like the last few years, I think, everybody's been trying to figure out who are going to play the new X-Men. And even the way Deadpool and Wolverine left off, it still leaves us in a fun place where we can speculate, is anybody coming back like the way Hugh Jackman as Wolverine did? Or is he the only like anchor being that gets to come back from the old Fox verse? There was that whole send-off in the credits to the old Fox movies, which was really
Yes, I love
nostalgic.
that.
So good. Yeah.
I
It
have that
made
on my list to
me
talk about too.
a
Like
good one.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
The 20th Century Fox, there was the logo in the void,
Uh-huh.
all broken and dirty, like it was
What was
done.
I listening to this on? Oh, I actually was shout out to Skywalking Through Neverland. I think it was them mentioning this because they said, was it them? No, I think this was one of the videos that you sent me. It's one of the videos you sent me. Shout out to them anyway.
Hey, hey,
But
hey.
Sarah Richard, what's up? But there was a part where they addressed in this video that we've never had a 20th Century Fox like monument anywhere. It's not like you could go visit it in Hollywood, like the Hollywood sign
Right.
or something. It's not like a real life thing or like in any movie ever. It's just been in like the beginning credits of every film, right? That's it like
Yeah.
pops up before a film or whatever. That's hilarious.
And it's
So,
so recognizable. You're like, oh, there it is. The thing that you've
yeah,
seen at the
yep.
beginning of every movie forever. Da, 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 da. It
That
even
was so
has its
good.
own fanfare.
I mean, everybody knows it, right? I could even sing the song probably. Yeah, the little fanfare for it.
Okay, what's next? Should
Uh
we do Deadpool variants? Should we do cameos, like other cameos? Should we do end credits? Where do you want to go next?
let's do I have one other funny reference. I think we kind of did a lot of the references, so I want to say one more. When he brought up Feige, you mentioned before he brought up Feige, like as his name Feige. He didn't say like, oh, some director or whatever. They said Feige. Like, um, he said that we're not allowed to mention cocaine, which are obviously mentioning a ton throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
And they go through all these versions of like these slang terms for cocaine. It's hilarious. And then there was one part where they said, "Do you want to build a snowman?"
So funny. Especially because I remember going to a drag show once where Elsa was doing cocaine
Oh my God.
as the snow. So I immediately was like, wow, they went there. They went there, snowman.
Right. I know. They just like full on went there and didn't even care.
So good.
Okay. So maybe cameos next.
Okay, a lot of cameos, and I'm curious which one as a like semi into the MCU and the old Marvel stuff, like which ones you caught and which ones I didn't even expect at all. Like they pulled out cameos from the back pockets of decades ago. In fact, a Guinness World Record was made and recorded for Wesley Snipes. He has
Uh,
now officially been in the Marvel movie franchise, the longest of any other actor, because Blade was like the first out at that time. So Wesley Snipes played Blade in 1998, and then he came back to play Blade, the half vampire killer slash daywalker. He came back. I could not believe he came back. I
that
was
was
like,
hilarious. That was,
what? What?
yeah, that was one of those moments in the theater where people like erupted, right?
Yep.
Like, oh my God.
Just cannot believe it. And then within that, there were more Easter eggs within the cameo because we all know Mahershala Ali has been cast as Blade. They announced it at D23 like years ago. So we're waiting for that movie to come out. It's been in like production hell for a while. So there is already a new Blade in the MCU announced years ago. And then Ryan says something. Oh, no, no. Wesley Snipes as Blade says something like, there'll never be another Blade or something. And then Ryan
Yeah,
looks at the
yeah.
camera or winks, does another one of those
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I was like, what does that mean?
We're like, whoops, we know you've already been recast. Sorry, Wesley.
Ouch, ouch.
So good. And then get this, Ryan Reynolds was in one of the Blade sequels.
Oh, really?
Yep. He was in one of the Blade sequels.
I did not know
And
that.
I didn't either. I had to look this up and find it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, can it just get any deeper? It just keeps going and going, these rabbit holes and icebergs of Deadpool.
And not to like jump way ahead, but the end credits, they had some footage, I guess, and I don't think I ever saw it, to be honest. But the first Deadpool Ryan Reynolds was in, they had a bunch of that footage on there too. And
Yeah,
that was really cool. And the fans didn't like it, right? So
it
he's
was
like, I want to
horrible.
like fix it and do this one instead.
And
It's
it was
crazy
in
cool.
the one of the Wolverine solo movies. So they brought Deadpool in as a stupid side villain. So his whole like nickname in the comics is the Merc with a mouth because
Uh-huh.
he just talks shit, right? And in that movie, they sewed his mouth shut. Like, what are you doing?
Oh.
Yeah, so the fans hated it. It was pretty dumb. He was giving me like Baraka from Mortal Kombat. It wasn't the real Deadpool. So now
It
they
was
both
reminding
got
me
to
of like
redo it.
the guy that sprays the like spray paint in his mouth or whatever on which they also referenced in this movie. That was hilarious too. What was that? Oh my God, help me out.
Spray paint.
Not Dune, but the other post-apocalyptic
Oh, Mad Max. Yeah.
Mad Max. Thank you.
Yep, there was a lot of
He's like, this
that.
is feeling very Mad Max right now. And he even says, like, you're Queen Furiosa. And I was like,
Yeah.
hella dying. I
It
was, this
was
is
so
so good. It's like
funny.
every fandom, really, like they really
Right?
just didn't.
Like before
It's
you
like
could
he's one of
even
us, right?
totally one of us. He's totally one
Yeah.
of us. Before the audience member could even go, wait, the void looks too much like Mad Max. They copied it. He already acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Like and then we're like,
And then
all
it got
right, let's
even
see.
more like
Yeah.
Mad Max.
The
And then he did the
vehicles.
Furiosa thing. Like 10
Yeah.
minutes later, he's still talking about Mad Max. I'm like, exactly. It still feels like it. That's why. That's great. It's so
So
fucking
freaking
perfect. I
good.
love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see other cameos. We had Happy Hogan, played by John Favreau. So Happy Hogan is Tony Stark's driver, who Deadpool makes sure he
Chauffeur.
remembers that he was just you were just the chauffeur, but now he like works for Stark Industries. He's like the top one of the
Is that
top
even a
leaders.
cameo though? That was like a part.
Okay, so the reason why, yeah, I would say you're right. It's a part, and it was part of this is the fifth wall breakage that I was reading about
Okay.
because Happy Hogan was also speaking from the point of view of Jon Favreau. And I'll tell you why. So, Jon Favreau is the one who launched the MCU. So, him and Kevin Feige made Iron Man 1, and that really started everything. So, and Jon Favreau directed it. And so he has a pretty big say in like what the Avengers should be and all that. Like he's been along for the whole ride. So there was almost like two points of view happening at the same time. Like he was representing Happy Hogan and Stark Industries, but also representing Feige and Marvel Studios. Like, I don't know if Deadpool should be here. I don't know. It's just, it's so much. I can't even. I can't even.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So they
I did
did
not
that.
get that.
And in his office alone, there were like tons of Easter eggs. I think I have to watch it 10 more times and pause it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. They had a lot. They there was also one of the things that I thought was funny that I saw in a YouTube recap. In his office, there were a lot of MCU references and like artifacts and weapons and stuff. But there's a picture that was from Spider-Man of Peter Parker and Tony Stark like hugging. And what they did was, oh my gosh, okay, this goes so deep. I'm going to try to speak slowly. Okay. So, because of Sony owning the rights to Spider-Man, they couldn't outright put Spider-Man in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like one of the last franchises that's still stuck in legal
Right.
drama. So they couldn't put Spider-Man in it. So what they did was they put that picture that we all know who Tony Stark has his arm around because it was from the movie. But you can't see Tom Holland at all. Instead, it's a plastic toy Iron Man mask, which is the mask that a young Peter Parker wore in one of the Iron Man sequels when he first met Tony Stark and was like, I'm a fan of yours, blah, blah, blah. And it was always a rumor that that kid that Tony Stark ran into was Spider-Man, but it was never confirmed. And this more or less confirmed, yep, that little kid ended up being Peter Parker.
That's great. So it's like a double Peter Parker moment, even though we're
Yep.
not allowed to really
And
have
they
it.
didn't even have to show him. And then also Deadpool snuck it in at one point in the car. He did the web shooters.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he's like,
yeah, it's like a no-no. Oh my God, I can't believe it. This is just so good. It just keeps getting better the more we talk
so
about it.
so good.
What other cameos? So we talked about
Oh,
Chris Evans, Blade, who else?
I have a fun cameo that I learned off of a video, but because I would not have known this, but at the beginning when he's fighting with the adamantium skeleton, he says there are 206 bones in the body, 207 if you're watching Gossip Girl. And what
So
I didn't
good.
know, because I get that joke, but what I didn't know, the further side of that is that Ryan Reynolds in real life is married to Blake Lively, who is a star of Gossip Girl. So he's talking,
Yes.
so he's like giving, you know, a shout out to his own wife in like a sexy
So
way too. That's
cool.
pretty awesome. And turns out she's the blonde ponytail Deadpool at the end also. So
Lady
she got to be in it.
Deadpool.
Lady Deadpool.
She got to be Lady Deadpool. And she said she loved every minute of this because she's had to be with Ryan for years while he works on these projects. So she's like, I better be part of this project.
That
So
is fun
good.
because you get to hear, I'm sure she hears about it all the time.
Yeah.
And then she gets to
So
be part of
good.
it.
She played
That's
Serena
cool.
on Gossip Girl, which is a very good movie. I mean, good show back in the day. Cheesy. But now, do you know where Ryan and Blake met? How they fell in love?
No.
On the set of a really bad DC movie,
Uh-oh.
Green Lantern, where
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Ryan played Green Lantern.
Is
It
that
was
with Seth
also
Rogen or something? Is
no,
this
that's Green Hornet.
Oh, the other green
So
from
confusing, I know.
another universe, probably,
Another
right?
one, yeah. But he played Green Lantern. Not many people liked that movie. It was pretty critically panned. And in at the end credits of Deadpool 2, when he goes around using the time machine thing to murder like the other variants and stuff, at one point they show him go to Ryan Reynolds, the actual Ryan Reynolds, reading the script for Green Lantern, and he shoots him, and the blood goes on the script. So he's like, "Don't ever."
Oh,
So,
wow.
so he changed that timeline so it never happened. Oh my gosh, so funny.
So
Uh,
good.
Stan Lee, we always love to see
Oh
him make a Marvel
yeah.
cameo, and he was on a bus, I think, like on the side.
Yeah, I noticed it the very first time. I was very proud of myself. I mean, it was pretty big, but like
So
they
cute.
pan on that crazy bus fight scene that you see, which I also have one question about, but there's a billboard on the side that says Stanley Steamer, which is I felt so stupid because afterwards I was like, isn't that like a real thing? That's like a real company, right? And I remember I think it's actually like a sexual thing.
Oh,
Isn't
is it?
it?
I only knew it
Stanley
as like the
Steamer?
vacuum commercial.
Is it actually a real, is it a thing?
I only know it as the commercial, like Stanley steamer to get your
I don't
carpet
know which
steamed.
it is.
Wait.
Maybe it's both, but
Yeah, as I said, to get your carpet steamed, maybe it has something to do.
yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
Hilarious. Yeah, so that was
Be.
really, really cool to see. I'm like, oh, there he is. It's like
I love it.
cute every
Let's
time.
see. For all the Marvel fans who have stuck through a lot of the Disney Plus shows, plenty of that paid off too. Because if you watch both seasons of Loki, a lot of this was a lot more exciting because you had more context, right, to the
Right.
time variance authority and the pruning and the void and even that big purple dragon thing. Like we kind of knew already what it was. And then they also showed Hunter B-15. She came back and she's like now one of the leaders of the TVA. And I think at the end, oh gosh, I can't remember. She started to flirt with somebody. I think Peter or one of the Deadpool
Yeah, it
BFF
was Peter,
guy. Yeah,
Peter
Peter.
Poole. Yep.
Yeah, so
There
funny.
was two things at that too that was really cute. Another fourth wall moment where Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool was like, "Wait, is that him from Loki season whatever episode blah blah blah?" Like he literally said the
Yes.
season and episode number. And then there was a part in this is another video thing. I didn't catch this myself, but um there's a part where the guy who goes by, what's the bad guy's name in the TVA?
In this
Yeah, it
movie,
starts with a P. What is it? Paradox,
Paradox.
time
Yeah.
paradox. Okay. So he snaps at some point. I think he says, "Come with me," and he snaps, and it's the Disney Plus snap. It's like the same exact
Oh
sound.
my God.
And I was like, that's so
Yeah, I
good.
need to go rewatch it just to catch that. I did not
Yeah,
get that one.
it's so freaking good.
That's
It's like, oh my
amazing.
God.
Wow. Let's see what else. We got to see, okay, way back the first X-Men, which I was a huge fan of. Like it was such a big deal when they made the first X-Men movies. And they brought back a lot of those. So there was like Toad, who is played by stuntman Ray Park, who also plays Darth Maul in Star Wars.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
And so he was the one you saw during the Mad Max scenes with the long
Man,
tongue.
yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Toad. He came back. They had the guy, oh gosh, the Sabretooth from the
Yeah,
original.
Sabretooth.
He was there and he got his head chopped off real quick. That's the where he
That's
said
the
what
Queen
Fury
Furiosa.
goes.
Yeah.
We got to see some variant of Ant-Man slash Giant Man's corpse, and it is actually now the villain's lair here in the void. Pretty dark.
That
Love
was
it.
cute too, because he's like, "Oh, Paul Rudd finally aged." And that's like such another
Yeah,
great like joke
right?
and moment. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
goodness. They even brought back the version of Juggernaut from the comics into the X-Men Fox movies that people made fun of the costume for because it was really corny looking. And it was a plot point. Like they needed to get the helmet and put it on scary lady, bald lady. I can't remember her name.
Um,
Professor X's
he had like a
twin.
real normal name like Candace or something.
And there was a cool backstory
Cassandra,
there.
wasn't it Cassandra? I think
Cassandra.
it was.
Yep, Cassandra. Cool backstory there that I didn't even know about, that she actually existed in every timeline. It's just that Professor Xavier had always managed to kill her in the womb, so she never was born. It's just nuts. It just gets nuttier and nuttier, which is the whole point. And I think when you think of the comics, they're so silly and they don't have to make sense. And they reboot like so many times. Like go to a used comic book store and there are thousands of variants of things. And sometimes the fans take the MCU way too seriously. Like it has to be
Yes,
this, has to be
yeah.
perfect. And they just threw everything out the window. And I loved it so much. Okay. More
Love it.
quick cameos. Psylocke from X-Men was there. They had Blob from X-Men. They had Azazel, who was like the devil-looking guy that kind of looks like Nightcrawler but red. They had Lady Deathstrike, but I don't think it was played by the same actress, but that's the lady with the long Wolverine adamantium nails. And then some of the other gag-worthy ones besides Blade and Chris Evans, we got to finally have Channing Tatum as Gambit. And so this
How
is
did I not recognize him? First of all, that I actually really like him. I didn't like care about him for the longest time, but I've seen him in a few things now where I'm like, he's actually freaking hilarious. Like I just watched what's that movie where it's Ryan Reynolds again, where he Free Guy.
Free
And Channing
Guy.
Tatum's in that too. And his part, he's just like a funny, weird dude. And I love
Yep.
that. So like bring
Free
it on.
Guy.
Yeah, no, that
Free
was
Guy's another good movie. Same director. So it's Ryan Reynolds and the
okay.
same director. And Chris Evans showed up there as Captain America. It just keeps going round and
I
round
don't
and
even remember
round.
that.
Yeah. It
That's
was like a real
hilarious.
quick cameo. Um, okay, so oh God, I'm out of breath. I can't breathe. Okay, so was we oh Gambit. Okay, so backstory on Gambit, Fifth Wall. Not sure how much you know. So Channing Tatum has been trying to make a Gambit movie happen for, I want to say, at least 10 years. So it was before Disney bought Fox. It was when there was still the Fox X-Men verse. And it got like a week away from production several times, like greenlit and everything. But there was just always something that happened that had to either get it delayed or had to restart. And he finally gave up. It was really sad. I think it was like 3 years ago. He
Oh,
was just like, no, this is not going to happen anymore. Like, it's past, I'm past my prime for that character and all this stuff. And then for him to show up, like, his fan moment, like, he is a mega fan cosplayer of Gambit. So he got to finally do it. And they even kind of acknowledged that he finally got to do it. And then they also talked about how he probably wouldn't even have been a good Gambit. So why did he want to be it in the first place? So it was just so many layers there. Like the bad accent, like
so good.
How would Channing have done New Orleans accent without being offensive? If it was seriously a solo movie, it would have been weird, probably. So there you go.
Okay, I didn't know he
Yeah.
was supposed to be from New Orleans, and I remember I caught that because I just watched it again last night, and I caught him say something about New Orleans. I think he might have said even NOLA or something, but I was like,
Probably.
what does he have to do with that? I like thought he was like from somewhere else, like another planet or something, because he's so crazy. But that was hilarious when Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool, sorry, having trouble even like discerning who I'm
Right?
talking about here. Um, but how he said he's like, "Who is your dialect coach?" Like
Yeah.
this,
So
because I was like, "Oh my
so
god, I
bad.
can't understand a word he's saying," and then he addresses it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's on purpose. Thank goodness."
So funny. Gosh. Um yeah, that was a good moment for Channing. He got to have it. A little, even if for just a little bit. He got to be
Yeah,
Gambit.
it's
Mr.
like
Magic
boom.
Mike. Chris Hemsworth was in it for a second. So they kept playing this scene
Oh,
of
that was great
Thor
too.
crying with Deadpool in
Why
his
is he
arms.
crying?
And we still don't know, right? They're gonna leave us hanging forever and ever about what was happening in that timeline with
Right.
Thor and
And Deadpool was
Deadpool.
like desperate to know, and nobody
Yeah.
would tell him.
And we'll
And
never
then
find out.
he woke up from two different dreams throughout the movie, dreaming about Thor
Right. Uh,
twice.
wet
That was
dreams.
great.
Oh, and then he was like, "Oh no, part of you is still awake, or not all of you were asleep." He had like a boner on
Yeah,
Wolverine,
yeah.
right? Which I thought was cute on so many levels, even for just Disney being inclusive. Like they really let Deadpool's pansexuality, so his character is pansexual. Like they let it be as it was,
Right,
and layered with his humor. Like that's how this person would be in real life.
right,
And he's such a flirt, doesn't care if you're straight or not. He's still gonna flirt with you. I just thought that was it was they did it so well that you can't get offended unless you're really boring.
right. He definitely has like no filter in any sense in his life, and it's not. And some people say no filter when people are just kind of being assholes, but like he just doesn't have a filter in general. So like every side of it, doesn't hold back on any of it. He's just like literally unapologetically himself, right? Like
Yes, exactly. Gosh.
love it.
What else? Okay, there were some celebrity friends of Ryan that got to play the Deadpool variants, meaning you didn't even know it was them. They just got to be on set for
Right.
the day and have fun. And supposedly that was a one shot action scene, which I need to rewatch it to really see that, but that's what
That's
they said it was.
crazy.
And so there was people like Rob from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He played one of the variants. And then you had said already, Blake Lively, the wife, was one of them. So there was like a handful there. Nathan Fillion, who's also like a fan favorite of like sci-fi shows. He
Okay.
played Headpool, which was just like the head.
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
propeller head guy?
So many of those. And then the dog was so cute. The dog's real. Her name is Peggy the dog. She's an actress. She has her own IMDb page with the little tongue sticking out. So
She was
ugly,
voted
but so cute.
ugliest dog of the UK or something.
So that was hilarious. What
Very
else?
cute. Um, I found out about an Easter egg that was a very small, you would not have been able to see this during the movie. There's no way. But I didn't even know this about the other, I don't know which Deadpool it was in or if it was in the both the first two, but Deadpool happens to like Golden Girls a lot, and you'll see a lot of Golden Girls stuff throughout the film. He's wearing like a B. Arthur shirt in the first one, and like there's different moments where Golden Girls are involved somehow. And at the or in the either the first or the first two or whatever, one of the first two or both, the like base of his blades said B and the other one said Arthur. So B. Arthur. So he has like his
What?
katana blades named after
What?
B. Arthur.
Hold on, I just pulled my headphones off. My headphones popped off. Okay, I did not know that. I really do need to watch it again. This is so good.
Yeah, this one I got from reading online. I did not catch this at all. But this one they're
Wow.
different. And they're engraved with two initials on both of them. One said hold on. Wait for it, DR, and the other one said SB. And so people were trying to like figure out what this means. However, the person in the video was like, does that mean Dorothy, Rose, Sophia, and Blanche?
Oh, MG. It has to be because it's a sequel then to the other Blades. That's so
Right.
so smart.
Right.
Yep. And he does that a lot. And he does that a lot referencing his own gags from other Deadpool movies. Like, what?
Yep.
The one
He even
that
brings up in this one that this is the he's like, that's a crazy thing to do for the threequel or something like that. He's yeah.
Yep, yep. The bye 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 scene. Okay, we talked about this earlier, but the NSYNC song, bye bye bye. So in Deadpool 2, here we go. I'm gonna talk slow again because it goes deep. In Deadpool 2, Celine Dion sings the theme song that they wrote for that movie, and it's actually really good, like epic Titanic style. She's in the video. I told you that I went to her Caesar's Palace Coliseum concert, and she performed the song with Deadpool on the big screen in the background. Like she's a fan, and she gets how funny it is. So that was Deadpool 2. Now in the music video for Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds is in it, and Celine Dion finishes performing the song on stage, and then he like walks on stage in the video and says, "Oh my God, like I am so glad you did that. If we couldn't get you, I would have had to get NSYNC." And then years later, here we go with NSYNC in the opening credits. Like,
Hilarious.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Speaking of completely quick squirrel, I ran into Joey Fatone 2 nights ago at the
Ran
Chris.
into
I
him.
read it. He was at the
Old
Christina
pals.
Aguilera concert.
Oh my
He was
God.
at the Christina Aguilera concert, and I couldn't believe it. And I was also thinking at the same time, like, good for him. Like, Bye 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 is back on the charts, Billboard charts, because of this movie.
That's
And so is
amazing.
Madonna's Like a Prayer, which was an epic way to kick off Act 3 finale of this movie. It's such a good song. You could see there's interviews online and articles about how Ryan Reynolds had to go to Madonna and show her the storyboards of this scene and why it was so important that it had to be this song,
Oh my God,
and
I
then
love it.
get permission to do like a epic re-recording of it. Like it's a lot more epic. There's more choir than even in the original. And not only did she love the idea, she freaking showed up to the premiere of Deadpool. Wow, like
Amazing.
he is so good at what he does. But I guess, if someone really loves it, loves their job, you can't say no. Like you could tell that it's a passion project, probably.
Right.
That's so amazing.
God. Another thing that it might be a little late to mention this now, but I have to.
Never too late.
The fight scenes. So I am not an action person. I don't like fighting. I don't not like. I just don't care about it. Like I get kind of. I usually fall asleep during the biggest action scenes in films because I just get bored. There's like too much chaos, and it's like the same thing over and over in my head. So I just don't. I'm not entertained by it. However, the fights in this movie were done so well. The fight scene with all the Deadpools and in the bus was amazing. But the scene that I love the most, which was in the Honda Odyssey, which they're making fun of
Oh
this poor
yeah.
car the whole time. Is I wonder if there's another deeper story about the Honda Odyssey.
There's
Is
got
there
to
something I
be.
missed
Yeah, I
there?
not that
It's
I
got
know,
to
not
be
that I
okay.
know, but yeah, why
There's
did
got to be
they
something because they're just like
uh-huh.
talking so much shit about this poor car. It didn't do anything to them. Betsy, old Betsy. But the oh my god, that's another great one too. Oh my god, there's so many things I'm just remembering them as I talk. But anyways, the fight scenes were amazing. There is that one in the car with Deadpool and Wolverine, and the best thing about it is that you know that they can't kill each other. Like they're not going to kill each other. They're just fighting to
Right.
fight. Like they're actually angry with each other,
Yeah.
and they're just like absolutely murdering each other in the car. However, like
Like
it,
neither
you
can
know,
ever die. They both keep
yeah,
regenerating, which also sucks because I always wonder in these movies, like it still hurts. Like your pain receptors are still there. So they're still getting stabbed that many times.
yeah, it's gotta be
Yeah.
miserable.
And there was a little bit of a, and I don't know if this is just the gay in me, but there was a little bit of sexual tension in that specific van fight scene too. And the way that it ended, they were just like, they're just exhausted, laying down on their backs as if they just
Right,
had
yeah.
a
That's it
long
looked like an
session.
after, yeah, after
So
shot.
good. After shock. Um, the fight scenes, you're right. They were so well choreographed. Like every whip bang pow hit had a reason for it, or a story
Right.
to it, or a line that went with it. It was just, gosh, I
And they
can't.
seem to be like in small areas too, like the like fighting like that inside of a car. That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
that's nuts. And even the scene where there was like, I don't know, 30 people fighting was in that tiny little open area within like the Ant-Man arms or whatever, right? Like
Yes.
it wasn't that big of a space. So you could like really see everything instead of it being this big, like giant spread out war scene, which it normally is, right?
Yeah.
In films like this. So I really enjoyed fight action scenes, which I never like. So cheers to
Like
them for that.
it was somehow chaotic, but easy to follow.
Right,
Like that,
exactly.
yeah, very hard to do. Um, there was a couple of cameos that just came to mind that I forgot to mention. I got was reminded when you said of the fight scene in front of the Ant-Man skull, because we got to see them all like use their powers again. So we talked about Gambit. I was excited to see him finally like throw his playing cards and use his staff. Oh my gosh. But Elektra came back. So Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, was a spin-off of the Daredevil movie back when it was not owned by Disney or anybody. And Daredevil was played by Ben Affleck, who also went on to play DC's Batman. Like there's just so many connections. But she was another one that I did not even see coming that they would bring back. I almost
Oh.
completely forgot about the Elektra movies that even existed, but Jennifer Gardner was also excited about it. I was looking in hindsight, there's these clips showing when she was asked at one point, like, hey, there's so many rumors going around about old Marvel cameos in the new Deadpool. Any chance we'll see Elektra? And she didn't do a good lying face.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And seeing it now, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, she totally didn't know what to do. She
That's
was caught off guard.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
But she ended up
hilarious.
saying later, like, oh, it was so much fun. I got to get back in shape just to be Electra for the cameo. It was a lot of
Nice.
fun. And then another sort of cameo slash character that makes sense to be in this movie was they brought back X-23 slash Laura, who was the little girl from Logan, and she's back a little bit older, and she gets to be in it too. And now there's rumors that she's going to join the Young Avengers. So my mind just keeps exploding, like it just doesn't stop.
That was really cool to see her again, especially because I feel like I just saw Logan a couple years ago and she's already like a grown adult now at this point. Like,
Yeah. She's been through it. Like, what's going on? Why was she in the void? How long was she there?
right.
So many
How did this
questions.
happen? So good.
All right.
Whew. So obviously, this is a movie I think everyone should go watch, right? I
Yeah.
think you should go watch it a couple times, like we did. Or did you go
Yeah,
see
you
it
have
again?
to. Not yet. I need to.
Okay.
I need
Yeah, you
to.
need to.
But I watched a lot of the YouTube recaps, so now I know what to look for
Yeah, it was
second
really
time.
fun seeing it again because I caught even more things like, like, and it's mostly like fun fan service stuff. By the way, I was going to mention that this movie to me is the perfect way to do fan service because I feel like the other movies, like, they're just kind of like doing stuff to make us like get excited. This movie was like taunting it, like kind of like making fun of it and having like being silly about it, which like
Yeah.
fandom should be, right? Like
Yeah.
it's fun. We're not in this as like a serious competitive thing. This is entertainment. It should be enjoyable. And so I really loved how they did the fan service in this. Like they just poke at it and it's so I just really, really liked it. It's like my favorite version of that.
So true. I
Um,
100% agree.
yeah.
All right,
Whew.
I'll try to do one sentence wrap up, which is um I can't even okay. Mind-blowing, beautiful chaos that rewards fans of entertainment in general. Like not just Marvel. It's like
Right?
fans of
Yeah.
entertainment and movies and reading about movies and going on like all that stuff was rewarded. Loved
I
it.
think that is very good.
There we go.
I'll do the typical one. Deadpool, the movie made for us. There we go.
The movie made for
Alex.
us. It truly was. It felt like, and I bet every person in that audience felt like it was made for them because you had certain things that you like. Like you mentioned the Disneyland stuff. There's probably like deep cut Marvel comic book stuff. There's probably someone who was laughing so hard at the Honda Odyssey thing that we don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Something for
I need to
everyone.
know more about that. They're making fun of somebody for having the car or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's got to be. All right, so there it is, our wrap up of Deadpool and Wolverine. We both give it 5 out of 5. We think it's beautiful. We think it's chaotic. We think it's for the fans. We do want to wrap up this episode, though, with a little bit of just some hype. You're about to go to D23. I keep wanting to say D23 Expo. You're about to be at D23 in just a couple of days. And
Yeah.
rather than going through like all the rumors and speculations, we're going to hear the real stuff like in just a few days. So I just want to know, you're going to be there. What are you most excited about? What are the few things you're excited about?
So I'm gonna give Laura a shout out. So Laura this morning group messaged our chat and said, "Am I crazy for thinking this?" Hold on, I'm just gonna read it verbatim. Give me one second
Do
here
it.
because I thought this was great. Um, She said, "Am I crazy thinking that D23 will be kind of chill this time? Like it feels weird to not be preparing for a 4 a.m. nap in the basement." And with that, I replied, "Yes, yes, it does sound crazy, right?" It's like, no, it's going to be a hot mess. I still believe it's going to be crazy. However, the 4 a.m. nap in the basement, not having to do that is probably all going to be worth it, right? Not having to do that
Yeah.
overnight, crazy. It was so cold, it just miserable down there.
No
Um,
food. You have to like sneak it in. They
oh
make
my
it
God, it
such a
was
big
such a mess.
deal.
You can have a blanket, can have a chair, nothing. Like they're
Yeah.
just like sit on that concrete and freeze to death. Like that's like what they wanted us
Crazy.
to do down there. Um, but you know, in hindsight, I think that's what I'm most excited about, which sounds kind of lame, but I'm excited to see if this really works because this is still a 12-hour event at minimum. Like
Yeah.
it starts at 9 and ends at, and I don't even think it said what time it ends. It's 7 o'clock is the panel. I don't know what time the panel's over. So like it could be 9, it could be 10. I don't know. Usually they go over.
Yeah.
So let's just say 10. So it's a 13-hour long event, the full day,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
So
gonna be so there's no basement, no basement nonsense. It'll just be a different chaos. It'll be a new
yeah, the
variables, right?
whole navigating from one location to the other, I don't have faith that it is going to be easy.
Yeah.
However, I would love to be proven wrong. So bring it to me, D23. But in history, like historically, D23 has always been a mess. Like people that work, their volunteers that they hire, like they never know anything. Like they don't even know how to tell you where to find something on the show floor without like looking at the
Right.
map with you. So like I'm like, no, that's why I'm asking because I can't. already tried that. Like, help me
Yeah.
out.
Oh, the
Um,
ticket buying experience is a mess always. And you barely got your badges on
such a
time. You got
mess.
an email saying they might not even come
I
on
can't
time.
believe that. So here's my theory on that. So for those of you, I didn't even post about this, but I didn't get any of our tickets on time with the group I'm going with. There's 5 of us, and then we bought tickets for 7 who are the other 2 are not going to the Honda Center. Those showed up like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or
Oh,
something. Like we've
weird.
had those forever, but the ones for all of us that had to buy the 3 separate day individual tickets for 5 of us, so there's like 15 badges missing at this point, right? So I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. So now we have to go to will call the day before, so didn't show up. Then randomly, Disney just messaged or emailed us, I think like Thursday of last week, is like, hey, you're gonna get your badges. And there was something wrong. We're sending these out. And then it got like the next day. And what I
Wow.
think happened was Disney realized, like, holy crap, because it was like tons of like hardly anybody got their badges, it seems like. There's all over the internet. Everyone's freaking out, not getting their badges. I'm like, they're now gonna have to manage like literally thousands of
Wow.
people showing up to will call, right? And
Yeah.
likely a lot of them showing up the morning of, because they don't plan, they didn't buy their flight to get there the day
Yeah.
before, like stuff like that. So
Gosh.
I'm assuming that they realize like we actually need to get these out because this is going to be crazier than, the few people that might have had some issues or didn't make it in the mail or whatever. It's going to be like literally blocks, like the 4 a.m. line in the nap is
Oh
going to
my
happen to get our
gosh.
will call tickets.
You're
So
right.
um
What a mess.
so it's been crazy, the experience, but if it goes well, this will be ideal. It will be great. I just don't have faith yet, so I need to be surprised. Otherwise, I am still on what I was excited about before, and that's Nina West. I'm so excited to
Yeah.
just see Nina West
Masquerade.
because that was the funniest things. Someone in our group did get the RSP, which are the updated reservations. In a way, it's like Max Pass, or what do we have now? Genie Plus,
Light
Fast Lightning Lane.
lightning.
Oh
So
my God,
confusing.
so many things. Lightning Lane to get into a panel, and the biggest one our entire group wanted was Masquerade, and one of our people in our group, I think it was also Laura. Laura got it, so we all get to go to Masquerade without having to worry about
Nice.
that. So
Oh, that's good.
very excited. So many things to look forward to. I will be doing my best to post as much as I can on our Instagram. So if you're not already following us, go to at the Disney Holics on Instagram. And then we will also have a follow-up episode right after the expo on the next Wednesday. So whew, lots
Woo.
to be excited about.
Very excited. I'm trying to set my expectations at medium, not low or high, because I know there's going to be huge announcements because they've already kept saying billions of dollars in the parks are being invested.
Hmm.
And you and I always love the parks announcement. So I'm excited to see what they announce, and I'll just go with the flow. It'd probably be a lot of like sprinkling on some extra details of things we may have already known, and then maybe a couple of surprises here and there.
Right.
Which is good enough for me. I'll take it.
Have you been following along as what they will be streaming for people that are not at the expo?
I have not. And
Okay. Because I know they
I
did a decent amount of the big panels last
last
year
time.
or last expo, whatever it was
Yeah,
called.
more than they did prior. So hopefully it becomes just even more. My plan is to follow the bloggers who will probably be quicker than Disney's PR department, right?
And they'll like refine it so you like get a one hit like
Yeah, it'll be
TLDR, right?
exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll follow whatever I can, including your adventure there, and I'll see what's going on because I will be at home for this D23. Um,
I
but
got real
wow.
sad yesterday thinking about A, that you're not going to be there with me, but then also like I'm not staying at the Hilton like we always do.
Oh
And I kind of like,
yeah.
that like feeling where you get to walk around like the chaos before the storm, right? Like
Yeah.
you get to walk and see them like already setting stuff up, where that guy was like painting the mural out front. Like it's like
Oh
real quiet and
yeah.
chill, calm before the storm, not the chaos.
Yeah. You get
Calm
to
before the
start
storm.
seeing some people like the YouTubers start showing up with their
Right.
cameras. Woo!
Yep. Yep. And then all the elevator trips with Bob Gurr. Like,
Oh
I
my
mean, that
gosh,
can only
yeah.
happen at the Hilton and D23, but that's okay. I will do that probably next time. Even if I live down there, I'm still going to get the Hilton, I think.
Right. It's
Part of
part
the
of the
experience.
experience. Yeah,
It is.
Jinx, part of the experience.
Jinx.
All right. Well, so this was a fun episode, almost dedicated to other
I know I
fans
wasn't
like
expecting
us.
us to talk an hour
Yeah,
about a movie that was like 2.5
yeah.
hours long, but you know what? There's a lot to say.
Yeah, dedicated to Deadpool, dedicated to fans. D23 is also all about the fans, so it's a perfect way to wrap up this particular episode.
Yes. So thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed episode 201 of the Disney Holics Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disneyholics.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye. See you at D23.